Yo, 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 what is the word, my beautiful black people? How y'all doing tonight? I hope y'all doing well. Now, I saw this headline a few days ago, and it reminded me once again of a situation that I saw go down in my personal life years ago. Now, I had homeboys I went to school with, and you know how it is. You if you're cool with somebody long enough, uh, sometimes you get to know their family, extended family, moms and pops, aunts and uncles and cousins. And I had this homeboy in particular. He had a cousin that lived out of state from a small town, and he was around our same age. So he would come down here for the summertime, and we'd all hang out with him. And he wound up becoming one of the homeboys too. So there's a particular time where life wasn't going too well for him. He's talking to my homeboy. He's like, man, uh, he was going through some different things. He was going through some things with his baby moms. I think he was out of work at the time, so life wasn't going too grand for him. So he talks to his cousin, our homeboy, and he's like, man, you ain't gotta put up with all that, man. Come on, move down here. You know what I'm saying? It's all about having things. You know what I'm saying? So he's pumping up this better life that his cousin would have if he moved into town. So his cousin's like, all right, man, that sounds good. I'm with it. So he moves down here, and after a few weeks, he's like, man, I need to go change over my ID, because his ID, he is from another state, so he wanted to change it to the appropriate states, make it official. So he goes down to the DPS, stands in line, fills out the paperwork, and he goes sits in the little waiting area. So after a while, he started noticing all of these people that came in after him was getting called up to the desk, before him, taking their pictures and everything, for their IDs. So he's looking like, man, what the hell's going on? So he walks up to the lady at the desk, and he's telling her, hey, I've been here for a while. I was here before all these people. They stayed getting called up before me. And she's like, oh. And I believe somebody came from like the back area and told her something in her ear, right? And she said something like, wait here, sir. And she winds up walking to the back with this other person. So my homeboy, he's not thinking nothing of it. He's just standing there. And then she comes back and she's like, okay, sir, we need you to come back here. Right? So he's not thinking nothing of it. So he follows the woman to the back, and he comes around the corner, and there's these two cops waiting on him, right? And they're like, we need you to get up against the wall, sir. And he's like, man, what the hell is this? So they got him up against the wall. They're frisking him, and they wind up throwing him into one of the holding tanks in the back of the DPS, right? So he's up in there like, man, what the hell is this? And they're like, well, sir, you have warrants. And he's like, huh, warrants? He's like, man, I'm not even from down here. I just moved down here a few weeks ago. I'm just trying to get my my ID changed over, to the state. I don't have any warrants. So they're looking over his information, and they do a little deeper research. Well, come to find out, there's some guy in town whose information almost mirrors his. The only difference is that this guy is like he's like maybe a month older than him, a year older, something like that. He's a little bit older than him. But everything else completely matches, you know, the name and everything else. Well, this is the guy that has the warrant. So basically, it was a case of mistaken identity. So they find this out, and, you know, of course, they wind up letting him go. But you see, throughout all of this chaos, he still never got his ID. Okay? So a couple of weeks later, he goes back up to the DPS to try to get it done, you know, get it done this time. And guess what happens? The same damn thing. He goes up in there and they wind up locking him up in one of the holding tanks in the back again. They still haven't caught this guy. You know what I'm saying? That they're actually looking for. And he was telling me that, you know what I'm saying? They went through the information. They wind up finding out it wasn't him. So they released him. And he wound up telling me that there was a guy that was working at the front desk that told him, hey man, don't even come up here anymore. Because if you come up here, it's gonna happen again. So he was never able to get his ID. Now, there was a whole bunch of other stuff that wound up happening on top of that, where he was basically like, man, the hell with this, and he wound up going back home. You see, his cousin, the one that pumped up, you know, this better life that he would have if he moved down here, he wound up turning out to be one of the biggest busters walking the face of the earth. And that had a lot to do with him going back home, you know, plus the situation with the DPS. Now, that's a story I could tell, but it would be a long-ass video. I don't know if I even want to do it because it's a lot of stuff that went down with that cat. But yeah, he wound up turning out to be a straight-up sucker. And yeah, it was all over a woman. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, yeah, I saw this this headline where they was saying that there was a black man that got arrested behind some white boy's warrants. So I guess it was like some mistaken identity in that situation. I never watched the video about it, but yeah, when I saw that thumbnail and I read, you know, the title, it reminded me of this situation. You know what I'm saying? That I saw years ago in my personal life. So yeah, I just felt like that'd be an interesting story to tell y'all. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna go into the story about his cousin, you know, our original homeboy that went to school with us. I'm gonna think about it. If I do it, trust me, it's gonna be an interesting story, man. I'm talking about this guy. I mean, man, he just went out like a simp, straight up. So anyway, I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.